Digital transformation, it's still all about people. In the gilded halls of corporate ambition, the mantra of digital transformation has become the clarion call of modern business. The executives are scrambling to sign checks for hefty budgets in the acquisition of the latest technological marvels, convinced sleek software and a gadget or two will catapult them into a prosperous future. Still, amidst all this fervent pursuit of innovation, a stubborn truth lingers. Technology does not transform businesses. People do.
The misguided techno-fetishism. Sound familiar? A company loudly proclaims a far-reaching digital makeover. Press releases proclaim the game-changing platforms and AI-driven efficiencies that are coming. Consultants buzz in, installing systems bearing an impressive array of acronyms. But several months later, the expected leap forward resembles more of a timid shuffle. What happened? The crux of the matter lies not in the silicon and code but in flesh and blood. The techno-fetishism has led businesses to believe that machines can solve problems that are essentially human. They have overlooked the messy, complicated, and wonderfully unpredictable nature of their most valuable asset, their people.
HR's pivotal role in navigating change. The poor HR professional is often relegated to administrative corners, shuffling papers while the C-suite chases digital rainbows. But, at the same time, HR professionals are very well positioned to navigate ships through the choppy waters of transformation. For it's they who understand the very texture of the tapestry that includes the culture, fears, and hopes of the organization who manage the lifeblood itself. HR needs to assert itself rather as a facilitator but more as a strategic partner. It means going well beyond the realm of perfunctory training sessions into an engaging role, a role challenging, inspiring, and at times irritating. It has to be about preparing the workforce, not just to use new tools, but to think differently. Adapt, question, innovate.
Building a culture of skeptical curiosity. In a time when the only constant is change, adaptability is not an asset but an imperative. And adaptability does not come from blind acceptance, it comes from a culture that allows skeptical curiosity. HR leaders should create a culture where employees are unafraid to question the status quo and the new quo. Skepticism should not be misconstrued for negativity. It is healthy skepticism that is critical in the pursuit of better solutions. Encourage teams to poke holes in new initiatives, raise red flags, and work together on refinements. Not only does this improve the outcome, but it tends to breed ownership and engagement in the process.
Empathy, the underestimated leadership virtue. But for a long time, the unflappable, stoic archetype has ruled in corporate mythology. Yet, on the opposite extreme, empathy might be just that most powerful instrument in guiding an organization through change. Empathetic leaders tend to know intuitively that at the root of change, it's frightening, it's unsure. They don't listen in order to answer. They understand, and in acknowledging your concerns and confirming your feelings, they earn a currency of far greater worth than any technology. It is through example that HR can champion empathy, modeling it themselves in their interactions and embedding it into leadership development programs. After all, it is through being truly listened to that a workforce will more likely embrace rather than resist change.
Turning lifelong learning from slogan to strategy. Lifelong learning is the mantra of many a mission statement, but all too often, it's just that, a mantra. Organizations espouse learning as a value but don't support it with meaningful development opportunities. If companies want employees to grow in a continuous cycle, they need to provide the fertile ground in which that growth can happen. HR should lead the charge in making learning accessible, practical, and relevant. It's not about forced webinars or long-winded compliance modules. It's about creating individualized learning tracks, using technology to deliver content when and where it's needed, and understanding that learning doesn't always occur in a traditional classroom. Consider embracing microlearning, short, focused lessons that employees can engage in between busy schedules. Encourage cross-functional projects whereby staff can acquire new skills from their peers. And perhaps most importantly, celebrate learning as an achievement, not just a checkbox.
Confronting the ghosts in the machine. Digital transformation often brings latent issues to the surface in any organization. resistance to change, silos, lackluster communication. These are the ghosts in the machine that no amount of technology can exorcise. But HR must confront these specters head-on. This will likely include tough conversations about culture and accountability. It may mean looking again at long-held practices that no longer serve the organization's goals, but ignoring these challenges only ensures the transformation will falter.
One-size-fits-all solutions, the fallacy. In the pursuit of efficiency, it is tempting to use standardized solutions and feel that best practices are applicable across boards. Yet, what works splendidly for one organization may spell disaster for another. Context is king. The HR professionals should represent the strategies that would work in the unique contours of their organization. That means knowing not just the external drivers or technological trends, but the internal dynamics, the personalities, the unspoken norms, the historical baggage. Customization needn't be pain. It has something to do with fitting initiatives into an organization rather than trying to make the square peg fit into the round hole. The essence of customization requires nuances, patience, and the willingness to get off the beaten path.
Metrics that matter beyond the quantifiable. Living in a world obsessed with data, it is easy to believe progress should be reduced to charts and dashboards. Actually, more often than not, the big indicators of successful transformation are qualitative: employee sentiment, confidence in leadership, willingness to embrace new challenges. Balance these more quantitative metrics with softer signals. Request feedback with regular anonymous surveys, town halls, or informally, and use this intelligence not to just take the temperature, but to continually update and adapt strategies. Remember, numbers can be reassuring but also misleading. Perhaps a surge of productivity conceals burnout. Maybe a shrinking turnover conceals a stagnation of culture. Look beyond spreadsheets to gain insight into actual organizational health.
The courage to lead differently. The biggest barrier to real digital transformation is likely a failure of imagination. The leadership clings desperately to familiar structures and hierarchies, hoping that newer tools will execute old expectations more efficiently. But true transformation demands a departure from comfortable norms. It requires people professionals to have the courage to challenge the status quo and influence leadership to embark on a new path. No small task. It takes diplomacy, persistence, and a robust business case to connect people-centered strategies to business outcomes.
Moving into the human paradox. People are wonderfully paradoxical, resistant to change, yet endlessly adaptable, skeptical, yet hopeful, self-interested, yet capable of profound collaboration. To embrace the complexity is not just a necessity, it is an opportunity. At its core, digital transformation is not about the eradication of the human touch, but about harnessing it. Technology should augment human capability, not attempt to replace it. Organizations that truly recognize this will not only ride the turbulence of change, but emerge stronger and resilient.
Call to action for the HR professional. It is now time for HR to come out of the background and play an integral role in shaping the future of work. This is not an invitation but a clarion call. Yes, the challenges are gigantic, but so is the prize. Lead the enabling organizational culture that empowers critical thinking and honest dialogue. Champion empathetic leadership. People are not resources but individuals who have aspirations and anxieties. Establish learning ecosystems that inspire growth and curiosity. Remember, most of all, transformation does not have a start and end date. Rather, it's a journey in and of itself, the road uneven, the destination ever-changing. Still, with people at the core of such effort, led by thoughtful and brave HR leadership, the opportunities can be endless. In the greater narrative of enterprise evolution, technology would continue to impress and disrupt. Yet, when that glow wore off, it would fall to the human spirit whether organizations would thrive rather than survive. After all, for every algorithm or automated routine there is, ultimately, an individual whose creative life force and nurturing empathy fuels resilience.